And we're live. How's it going, guys? I am really excited to be here with you all. Hope everybody's having a good day, night, morning, evening. I don't know. It depends on where in the world you are. Here on Goldshaw Farm in Peacham, Vermont, it's 8 p.m. It's kind of cold outside. It's about 27 degrees, so it's actually warmed up. We've had a lot of snow here the last couple of days. Things are going good here on the farm. I've got my usual live stream co-host here with me, Lil Barn Cat, and I'm ready to just sort of hang out with you guys, take your questions, talk for the next little while. I don't know however long this may end up going. And we'll go into it. What was that? That was a weird noise. Sorry. So see a lot of friends in the chat here already. That's cool. Wow, 340, 400 of you. Wow, this is all right. This is popping. I see. Hey, Hope Wilson. Hey, Hope. How's it going? 2 quacks and 5 clucks. How's it going, buddy? Dakota Wiggins. Good to see you. Stephen Jenkins. Howdy. Wow, we got quite the crew here. Hey, Jack from the Mindful Homestead. Good. We got a moderator. Luke's Bees. Good to see you, Luke. Wow, everybody's streaming in here. This is awesome. So, guys, I wanted to just sort of throw out a couple things that I wanted to talk about with you first. And then from there, like we'll do with most of these farm meetings, which always happen now, the first Wednesday of the month, I'll be kind of doing this on the regular. I really enjoy taking the time to hang out with you guys. Yeah, let's get into it. So first thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was actually an update about the cattle. So as we've talked about actually in some of these previous live streams, the cattle are, kind of the big project and plan that I have for 2021. Our goal is to get a small herd of Dexter cattle going for beef. Those Dexter cattle will be something that we add, as kind of a part of our farm business. The ultimate goal is actually to raise those cattle for beef for, just regular cuts of meat. But then also the plan is to do beef jerky. And so my goal is to actually, I'm not sure if it's going to happen by the end of this year or not until next, but have beef jerky that we're making here at Goldshaw Farm that we're sending all around the world that you guys can buy. And I'm excited about that plan. I'm in the middle right now of trying to clean our barn. So Allison and I made a deal. We made this deal basically saying that, I wouldn't be able to get the cattle until I got the mess of our barn kind of all straightened out. And I've been making some progress, but I have a lot more to do. Specifically, I've been, organizing my workshop part of the barn and getting all my tools in order and kind of trying to tame some of that chaos. There's still like the feed area and the underneath area of the barn that's kind of a mess that I've got to work on. The reason that's important is when we get the cattle, the plan is going to be to put the cattle down there underneath the barn in the winter. And we got to make sure we have a spot. And so Allison doesn't want sort of my chaos to go on until I get that together. So that's been something I've been working on a little bit here this winter, but probably not doing nearly as much as I need to or I should be doing. But the goal is that by this spring, I'll be in the market for cattle. I don't know exactly when I'm going to get them. So I've got a couple of leads for some herds and, oh, hey, thank you, Caribou Orange. I really appreciate that super chat. I've got a couple of leads of potential cattle that could be coming in, but I don't know exactly where I'm going to get them. I'm looking in terms of the genetics. I'm looking in terms of the price. I want to do this right and not just try to like find any old cow off the street. So I'm being a little selective, a little bit picky, and that'll be something that I probably end up making a video on this spring as I start to go visiting different farms looking for cattle. So if you guys are interested in something like that, let me know if that would be an interesting video. You will see the barn though, I will say, in tomorrow's video. It's all about a new predator that is actually, I think, moving in on the farm. And it's going to get kind of interesting to see how I deal with it. And so that's what tomorrow's video is going on. After I actually finish this live stream, I got to actually finish editing that video. Yeah, Jack, it's quite the issue of having street cows. Here in Peacham, Vermont, we have street cows all the time. They're just wandering in, and usually those street cows, they have horrible manners. So you got to watch out for that. So that was one thing I wanted to mention. The other thing I wanted to talk about, because I've gotten a few questions about this. Oh, thank you, Wandering Mariner. Is Toby Dog fixed, or will we stud him out? He is not fixed yet, but I'm going to fix him probably later this spring before the puppy comes. And so losing my train of thought. Bees. So we are also going to be adding bees this year. And that's going to be another part of the plan for the farm. So, I've wanted to do bees for several years now, but just haven't been able to get my act to go together. I've got a couple of, I guess technically they're known as nukes, ready to go. I'm picking them up at the end of April, and I've got to get the beehives built and set up. They'll be over by the permaculture orchard, so they'll have plenty of things to pollinate. Thank you. Hey, Chill Cryptics. Good to see you, buddy. Just hatching out 30 khaki Campbells. That's incredible. And so those bees are going to go pretty much like if you look at the pasture, right? If you look at it from the standpoint that if you were standing at the goose house looking out towards the pasture, it would go on your right-hand side along that fence is where I'm going to put it. I'm going to put it inside the pasture because we have a bear problem around here. And I know that if I had just a beehive outside of that fence, there'd be a high probability of, Yogi Bear showing up and raiding our picnic basket. And so I'm going to keep it inside the fence with the ducks and geese and Toby, and that will keep it protected. But Dust Productions, thank you, by the way, for that. And we are not, I don't know. I'm not going to say we're not going to get turkeys. I've been toying with it. I don't think so, because I'm now starting to get overwhelmed with all the projects that we've got going for 2021. So I think there's probably a low probability of turkeys, but I wouldn't say no probability of turkeys. So that's one piece. The other part I wanted to mention is I'm also starting to plan some additional outbuildings around the farm. And I know actually, as some of you guys who pre-submitted questions through our YouTube channel community page or through the Goldshaw Farm Facebook group, you should look for that too if you guys are interested. It's Goldshaw Farm podcast Facebook group. It's fun. We have a lot of duck pictures that get shared. And so we're going to be working on some outbuildings. Oh, thank you, Nona Me. Hey, Morgan, what resources did you use to find my farm? I used Zillow and Trulia. So I know there's some people who tout things like LandWatch and such, which are actually fine as well. But I actually found that Zillow and Trulia were giving me the access to the most different properties. And so it was just a matter of kind of going through and working the search criteria. So the outbuildings, though, that we're planning are going to include, we're going to be probably building some sort of garage barn in place of where that old shed is, right across from the barn over by like Allison's garden. It's going to be a decent size, but it'll be enough to store our cars and truck in there as well as the tractor. So that's one piece. The other piece is, oh, hey, Michael Gilmore, thank you for that. I can't actually sell eggs in Ireland, so I can only sell eggs in the United States. That's a law thing. Thank you, Glitter Gum. And so we're going to be building that garage barn. The other thing that we're going to be doing is doing some major repairs on our big barn. So hopefully we'll be able to replace the roof and get some of that work done. And then the other thing that we're looking to build is, I've been actually seeing a couple people do this, and I got this book. I want to show you guys this book I got. Where did I put it? So this book has been my winter reading. It's actually the Polyface. You see it? The light's a little too bright. There we go. So it's actually the Polyface Designs book. It's pretty great. It's got designs and plans for like pretty much every piece of infrastructure that Joel Salatin has on his farm. Oh, thank you, Darth Crystal. I'll try to answer that in a question in a little bit. Let me just finish this point. So basically, this book has like all these plans. And one of the plans that is in there is like this hoop house, which I think I might actually try to build I'll call it probably 20 by 100 hoop house that I could use to house at least the geese and the chickens in for the winter. And then I'd use it for growing vegetables in the summer. just because I look right now and see how miserable the chickens seem, and I think the geese would be easier to manage if they had more indoor space to kind of keep them out of the snow, especially as I'm going to get into hatching season really soon. And so because of that, I'm really considering building a hoop house on the farm. And so that's another piece of infrastructure. And then the third and final new outbuilding that we're going to probably build is one more brooding shed, kind of like the ones that the chickens are living in now that I've used for the ducks and geese last year. That worked out really well. And I think I just want to build another one because I'm going to have a lot of hatching activity going on. We have, golly, how many now? We have I think about 14 female geese on the farm. And so I'm expecting a lot of eggs. And I just got a new cabinet incubator. So we're going to be doing a lot of hatching. And so I need a place to raise all those baby birds. All right, Darth Cynical, let me answer your question. What would I do differently if I had to start over? I think the biggest thing I would do differently is I would have not tried to do a lot of things in terms of like home repairs and getting things built and digging swales and berms. I would have probably waited a little bit of a longer time before I did that. If I had to do over, that would probably be the main thing that I'd look to do. Oh, Jude, thank you for that super chat. Could I get a toy for Toby Dog? I will do that. And actually, I did have a couple surprises for you guys. It's a good little time for a snack break for Little Barn Cat. A viewer recently sent us these little Shiba meat stick treats, and they are like Little Barn Cat's absolute favorite food. You like take them out, right? They look sort of like a Slim Jim. I don't know, kind of like it. It smells horrible. Like it smells like tuna fish, basically. So it's like a Slim Jim that smells like tuna fish. And if you see me take one out, though, watch Lil. She gets one sniff of it, and she's like, ooh, she likes this. You want it? And she likes to take it like it's like a little cigar. You dropped it. Here, try it again. And she will inhale this. Like, watch how quickly this thing is gone. This little tiny kitten eats this like little Slim Jim and just devours it. Oh, thank you, Andrew Mitchell. I appreciate that. Thank you, Tyler. I also appreciate that. That's very cool of you. Appreciate these super chats, guys. They, really those dollars usually end up going towards helping for the, various farm costs we have, including doing things like buying the cows. So those are the outbuildings that we have planned. And then the last thing I want to talk about now, because I've been seeing so many questions in there, I'm going to really want to start just hitting your questions rapid fire, is I want to actually talk to you guys about this thing. I don't know if you noticed it in the background here, but I just got as a gift a very, very nice portrait of Toby Dog. I'm curious, what do you guys think of this portrait? Like it, hate it? Yeah, let me make sure the reflection doesn't come in. I actually got Allison a version of this too. For her birthday, I got her a painting of Pablo, and it's pretty funny. I made a TikTok about it, but yeah, somebody just gave me this Toby Dog painting, and I gotta say, it's pretty awesome. Oh, Barry West, all right, I appreciate that. I will give you all the incubator details in a minute. Thank you, Glitter Gum. So we've got this Admiral painting. Isn't it great? Now, here's the question I had for you guys. If I had this made as a t-shirt, because I know folks have been emailing me lately about merch, would this be something that you would find interesting or fun to have on a t-shirt, or you'd think it was stupid? If you want a Toby Dog as a general t-shirt, can you put like the number 8 in the chat? I'd be really curious to get your reaction. And yeah, I do have to find a frame, and I'm going to try to hang it somewhere here in my office. But I thought you guys would get a kick out of this. And like I said, I was wondering if this would make sense as a t-shirt. So yeah, just type 8. Yeah, I'm seeing a lot of 8s. Awesome. Lil actually hates the pictures. I made a TikTok about this the other week, but Lil, when she saw the Pablo picture, she started like hissing at it and was getting so angry at it. So she's not a big fan. We're probably going to do a picture of Lil too at some point. And we might actually hang him up like in our hallway as like a portrait gallery. All right. Let me see, where were those? I know that there was a question. Oh, thank you, Fabian. I appreciate that. All right, so incubator details, because I know there was a question about that. So I actually just got the Brinzy cabinet incubator. It's the Brinzy. Let me look it up. I'll tell you what model it is. It's actually a pretty good size. It's the Brinzy Ova Easy cabinet incubators. Don't you guys just love like going on a live stream and watching a dude have to Google stuff? All right, I got the Brinzy 190 cabinet incubator. Or no, I'm sorry, the 380 cabinet incubator. So it actually does up to 380 chicken eggs. I think based on my math, it can do at least 120 goose eggs at a time. And so I do plan to do that many goose eggs, and I'm excited about it because we're going to be doing a lot of hatching this year. And given the fact that we have those, 14 females going, I think it's even more than 14 if I had to guess. It'll be so much fun to be hatching. What's nice about the cabinet incubator too is I can do different shelves. So each week is going to be another shelf. So there's going to be a period of time in the spring where I'm pretty much having a new fresh batch of goslings every week. And that's my plan, because what I want to do is get them all hatched and just get everybody out to the pasture as soon as I can. And then once that happens, really just let them free range over the course of the summer before, doing another fall butchering, which is another question I know I'm getting on here. All right. So Gabriel Tesca is asking, when am I going to expand the farm? Well, Gabriel, my plan to expand the farm is that the next expansion really is going to be the addition of the cows. And so once we do that, we'll go there. Luke's Bees. Luke, yes, from you, man. If you send me some duck eggs, I will hatch your duck eggs. Just what I would say is, if you could shoot me an email and we can work out the details and I'll let you know how to ship them. Thank you, Tammy. Tammy from Connecticut. Thank you. I appreciate that super chat. Thank you, Jonathan Payne. I appreciate that as well. So, but yeah, Luke, send me an email. We can work it out. I would love to hatch your duck eggs. Luke's Bees. All right. Trin Bragg, what advice would you have? What advice would you give someone that lives in Vermont? Wait, I'm sorry. This is moving so right. What advice would you give someone who lives in Vermont on starting a homestead? Well, in Vermont, I think we've got some real advantages, right? In Vermont, we have a very nice rural climate, a very sort of grower-friendly situation. And I think because of that, I think, it's just focusing on the fact that you have a very short growing season, which I actually think is a nice thing. So my suggestion would be just start. We got the spring coming up, not too distant future. I would start sprouting certain things like tomatoes and peppers by mid-March. Don't plant anything until probably Memorial Day. But once that happens, you've got really till like early September to get things going and growing. And so just my advice would be just dive right in. I saw a question come up about with the cows. Do I plan on doing bull or artificial insemination? And to be honest, I'm not 100% sure. I frankly am a little bit scared of the bulls. And so the idea of having to maintain a bull for breeding is not something I relish. I also, though, think the AI thing is a little intimidating too. And so I know I'm going to need to pick one of those directions. But I guess my question is, will I go with the AI or not? I think probably initially I'll do AI. I've got a couple of friends down the road who are dairy farmers who do AI all the time. And so my thinking is that they could probably actually help me with at least a few initial impregnations, I guess you call it. And so that would be how I'd start. And then maybe I'd progress to a bull, or maybe I'm just happy with the AI. So I think that's kind of my general thinking right now, but I'm not really locked into that one at all. Hey, AK in the hay, I appreciate that super chat. Hey, Morgan, my dad was a farm manager at Grafton County Farm for 37 years. If you need advice, I have property in Newberry and can't wait to make maple syrup soon. Oh, well, I appreciate that, AK. And Yeah, I'll keep that in mind. Grafton County Farm, yeah. All right, Windy Ridge Ranch. Thank you for that super chart. Why Dexter and how do I order eggs? So the eggs have not gone on sale yet because my birds aren't laying enough yet for me to have good hatching eggs. And it's still too cold, so a high percentage of them are getting too cold to hatch. We are having days right now where it's like you've seen in some recent videos, like negative temperatures. And I find that the viability of those eggs is like next to nil. And so right now I'm not able to sell the hatching eggs, but they will be soon. The thing that you should do is this. Go onto our website and sign up for our mailing list. And I'll be sending out an email to folks as soon as I am ready to sell both duck eggs and goose eggs. And so if you want to buy, my advice would be to do that because that'll get you access and probably you'll find out first from that list above all other things. I'll send out like sort of a it's on sale email. So that would be my advice. Go to goldshawfarm.com. If you scroll all the way down to the bottom, you'll see like a little login for the email and you just sign up and trust me, I won't spam you. It's like really infrequent when I send out the email. So yeah, there you go. All right. What questions else do we have? Uh-oh, Lil's getting all annoyed. Are you getting the same type of dog as Toby for your farm? Yes. So the second dog, which will come, I'd have to guess like May-ish. And she is going to be actually Toby's niece. So they're going to be related, same breed, same breeder even. She's going to be the daughter of Toby's sister. And so, yes, it'll be a Maremma sheepdog. Oh, Mushzilla Farms Homestead. I really appreciate that. I would love to donate one of our cows. Donate, not sell. She's 3. She's a Holstein. Maybe we would have to talk about that. I would really appreciate that. Like that's a really generous offer. So I don't want to kind of miss that point. I think I would just have to think about how it would work, but let's try to connect and yeah, let's find a way to sort of talk about it. But yeah, thank you, Mushzilla Farms. I appreciate that. Hey, Red Dirt Ranch. Thank you for that super chat. I really appreciate it. And Sarah Haley, hey, from Oregon. Are you going to get another barn cat to help Pablo on the farm now that Lil is Lil House Cat? So, Sarah, it's funny you should say that. I will give you guys, because you are the Quack Pack. Everybody who's here hanging out tonight, all 1,100 of you, you are the hardcores. I appreciate you guys coming out to hang out with me tonight. And what I'd say is this. I'm going to give you a sneak preview. Tomorrow's video has something to do with barn cats that are not Pablo or Lil. And so I don't want to give it away and ruin the video for you guys, but just know that there will be a video posted probably around 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. And that video will be talking about other cats. And you might even see something happen. I'm not going to spoil it. But yeah, that's what it is. Oh, thank you, RM Machado. I appreciate that. I don't know if you guys can hear that noise. That's actually Lil. She's playing around with the trunk that I have that I store a whole bunch of books in. All right. Hey, Rose. How's it going? Rose from Wholesome Roots. By the way, guys, I just want to take a moment to shout out and thank my moderators, and hopefully I'm not missing anybody that I didn't see pop in here tonight. Thank you to Jack over at the Mindful Homestead, and thank you to Rose over at Wholesome Roots. Honestly, without those guys, these live chats would not be possible. So I just want to say thank you to them. And you guys should definitely check out their channels. They're awesome. They both do great stuff. Jack's got a homestead with his wife over in New Hampshire, just over the border. And Rose, she's down in Georgia. She's got a little farm with her family. And she is just a expert gardener, goat whisperer, cattle rearer. She just does pretty much everything. She's just an impressive person. And so, yeah, check out both of them. Hey, Vixen Fatale, thank you for that. I'm trying to start hatching chickens and ducks, and they will be barnyard mixes. What advice can you give for selling babies? That's a great question. So when it comes to raising and selling live baby birds, I feel like you've got to mentally prepare yourself for the fact that you might be left holding the bag on those, and you might not find somebody who's willing to buy your birds, and you've got to raise them all the way out. So my point is, don't hatch anything that you wouldn't feel comfortable with raising to adulthood. Now, you can raise those birds to adulthood, and you could cull them and butcher them and put them in your freezer, and I think that's a perfectly fine solution. But don't have chicks that you would freak out if you ended up having those chicks raised to adults. So, for example, what we do here on our farm is I hatch out a couple batches of ducks every year, as well as even geese. And when I get those baby birds, I will put out sort of the marketing and put out the word to say, hey, I've got baby goslings for sale or baby ducks for sale. And, I'll set my price. So for the goslings, it's usually 20 or 25. For the ducklings, I usually do $10 a duckling. And so I put that word out there. Folks will respond and let me know. And usually, I'll usually do Craigslist as kind of a good solution. I don't want to say Facebook because you're not supposed to sell animals on Facebook, but Facebook might be a place. and so, as I put that word out with the baby animals, people will contact me and I'll work out a deal and sell them. And they'll either come to the farm and pick up, or if they're local here, sometimes I'll do a delivery and I'll sell them. But, I might only sell like 30% of them or 70% of them, depending on the situation. And the ones that I don't sell, I just keep and I raise up, and I raise them up to adulthood. And, for like example, with the ducks, I will actually usually just take the females and add them to my laying flock. And with the males, I might rotate a couple of drakes in like I did this past year. That's where, Quacky Chan and Serious Quack and Yojo all came from. And so those are my new drakes. I rotated out the old drakes, but then the other drakes I'll just butcher and they end up in the freezer, and we have meat that we feel very good with how it was raised. So, so I would actually say, if you're thinking about raising chickens or ducks and you want to do your own hatching, hatch them out, but also be completely prepared and ready for the fact that those might end up becoming meat birds. See what you can sell. The one thing I will say is, don't try to think about sending them through the mail. It's so complicated. The rules, the logistics of it. I looked into it. I got so intimidated by it that I have no interest in trying to sell through the mail. So really think about what would sell in your local market. All right. I've been ignoring so many questions here. Let me get back to a few of them. All right. By the way, guys, I'm really sorry if I've missed lots of these questions. I'm trying to keep up. All right. Sarah Kate, will the hoop house provide winter garden for the quacking and chickens? So let me talk a little bit more about the hoop house plan, because I think this one could be very cool. So the idea is that it would be a 20 by 100 hoop house, which gives me enough for the size of my breeding flock of geese, as well as a whole bunch of chickens, and even if I wanted to, a bunch of ducks. During the winter, I would house the birds in that hoop house. I would probably, use a deep litter bedding method, which is either using hay or wood chips or a combination of them that I keep piling up over the course of the winter. And then come the springtime, I'll be able to actually go in there with my tractor and just clear it out. Like I would actually design the hoop house so that it fits my tractor. I can just go in there and push everything out with the tractor. It's a really easy maintenance job for me, not hard or complicated or backbreaking. And I'd clear it out. I'd use that kind of filler as compost. I'd turn it, rotate it, age it, do all that good stuff with it. Then when it's in the spring and summer, I'd probably do a combination of growing certain warm crops like tomatoes and peppers, which always kind of suck around here because it's so cold and we have such a short window for growing, as well as some things like millet that the ducks and geese would like to eat. And so I would, do kind of all the greenhouse growing I want, plus like grow basically just some rows of kind of grasses and maybe even corn or other things like that. And I'd harvest the tomatoes, clear those out, and then come like, mid-October, I'd open it back up to the ducks and geese and chickens and put them in there and use that as their housing at night. And they might even use it during the day, and let them actually eat up that crop and then start pooping and pile it up, and then use wood chips and grass and, keep kind of piling up and do another round of deep litter bedding, and that would be the rotation, and I would do that. And so that would be the plan for the hoop house. I actually think it would be one of those things that would be pretty cool. All right, ASMR Nina Dog. Do you have advice for raising silkies, I'm assuming? Will you get your first batch this spring? So yeah, we still have our little tiny silky flock. It's oh wow, thank you, Lou Guy. I really appreciate that super chat. And I appreciate the support. So thank you. So yeah, so as far as silkies go, what I'm finding is the silkies are somewhat durable. They definitely don't like the winter. They definitely would be an animal that I would have living inside of that hoop house. I'm really hoping to start hatching with them this spring and see how that goes. We have 3 females and 1 rooster, so it's kind of a good number to get some good production here. And we're gonna do another snack treat for Lil. We'll do a little break here. Yeah, you want it? Isn't she adorable, guys? I don't know if this is like just how some people feel about like their animals, that they're this adorable, or if everybody feels that little barn cat's adorable, but I think she's the best. It's funny. Lil has taken to really sitting in this exact chair, and she likes to look out the window, and she likes to sit by my little heater here. And when I'm working during the day at my day job, she just hangs out and just sort of watches. It's really nice. She has become the constant sidekick in this office, even though I'm really allergic to her and like constantly rub my face. All right. Rose is asking me, would you get peafowl? I don't know. I feel like I have the habitat for it. I could easily kind of set them loose in the duck and goose yard. So I think it's possible. But I don't know. Like, well, I'm curious from you guys, like what you think. Like, what would you use peafowl for? I mean, other than like the tick control, like, most people complain that they're not great for meat. And Lil's getting kind of annoyed that I'm not feeding her, and I'm just sort of teasing her. All right, I'll give it to her. So yeah, I'm not 100% sure there. All right, let's see. My ADD conversation continues. Jaden R is asking, hey Morgan, I just started with poultry this past year. I bought 6 Issa Brown chicks from Tractor Supply, and it was been pretty good. I lost 2 from a neighbor dog, but I got 3 more, and it's great. Love your vids. Oh, well, thanks, Aiden. Jaden. Fabian Escobar Santander. How do you deal with your allergic reaction to the cats? It's funny. You should bring that up. That's a great question. So what I have been finding is this. When Lil first moved into the house, my allergies were really bad, and it was tough. But the more and more I've been exposed to her, and like I said, she's spending a lot of the day now in this room, I'm not finding it to be that much of a problem. And so my theory is I'm sort of just desensitizing myself. And so it sucks, and there's like a ramp up period. But at the end of the day, it's something that you can manage if you're patient. And I also use like Claritin. I take Claritin. That helps. So that's really what it comes down to. All right. Liam Boyd is asking, what about sheep? So Liam, I think I might do sheep. I think that the challenge with sheep is this, is I think about it as a farm business animal. Sheep actually kind of play a similar role that I have geese playing here on our farm, in terms of they do a good job grazing sort of the mid-level stuff, where the cattle are doing the bigger stuff. Then you usually will send like a follower species like sheep in behind the cattle. For me, what I'm doing is sending the geese in after the cattle. With sheep, though, the economics of a sheep or shoop or shap of one sheep is that basically, you get, say, 60 pounds, 50 pounds of hanging weight from that animal. And so that's what you have to sell. But the butchering cost is much higher as a percentage relative to a cow. And so the amount of meat you get with the fixed cost of butchering for a cow versus a sheep it's like not even comparison. Cattle are much more efficient when it comes to that. And so even though it requires a bigger startup cost and a longer growing time to get to where you need to with a cow, I think that long haul, they're sort of more profitable from that standpoint. So that's why I've leaned more towards cattle. The other thing with sheep is, look, they can have a lot more issues with parasites, and I just would rather kind of just focus on the grazing. Not to say that cattle don't have their own problems or geese don't have their own problems. So that's why I've shied away from sheep, but that's not to say that I won't ever get sheep. I could see that being something that gets in the mix. Oh, thank you, Mike Moyer. Found your channel last week. The videos helped me through a difficult time. Well, I'm really sorry to hear that you're having a difficult time, but I appreciate you're enjoying the videos. Hopefully, things are going to get better soon for you. Don't know what it is, but thank you for watching. Piper Lely, how do you plan on herding the cattle out to the pasture? So the plan is actually I'm going to be doing rotational grazing with, basically a single strand poly braid fence that I use to build the paddocks for the cattle. I will probably start them in the spring in the permaculture orchard, grazing them kind of through those alleys. But then as the summer goes on, I'll probably actually put them up on the top of the pasture. So if you've seen our videos where you can see on like the top of the pasture, you'll see that area is like just this big open, about 35 acre pasture that I have up top there. And so I'll be grazing them up there. The other project that I didn't mention that we'll be doing is we're going to be fencing in that top pasture. The fence up there won't be nearly as big and aggressive as what we have around the ducks and geese. It will be, though, much, much larger. So it'll probably be 4 feet high, probably 4 or maybe 5 strands of high tensile wire going around with electric current going through that. That will keep the cattle in place in case they break through their temporary fencing. It will also be running electrical all around that area, so it'll be easy to run a hot wire for keeping the cattle in place. And it'll kind of keep some of the predators out. It won't do what my fence does, but it'll be good enough. All right. Oh, hey, thank you, S. John Jones or Sean Jones. Suggestion: name next batch of ducklings you can keep the DuckTales cartoon characters. Huey, Dewey, Louie, Scrooge McDuck, Launchpad, McQuack. How can you forget Webbigail, man? I thought Webbigail was always the coolest. I was a huge DuckTales fan as a kid, so I don't know, I'm 40, I'll be 41, not too distant future. And so I grew up as a kid, like coming home after school and watching like the Disney block of cartoons, and DuckTales was like probably the best one of that bunch. So yeah. DuckTales. Ooh. All right, what else? Dishwasher soap. When am I going to have kids? Let me hit this one. People often get confused with it, but like Allison and I don't want kids. I know this is not for everybody. It's not a position that all people take, but raising kids is a big responsibility. Raising kids is a big life choice, and it's not necessarily for everybody. And so actually when Allison and I were dating, it was one of those things that we talked about. And Allison personally, she was really adamant about this, of not wanting to have kids. And I was like, yeah, I'm not sure I really want to have kids either. And so really over the years, that's always been kind of our plan as a married couple. And so, yeah, we have no intention of having kids anytime soon. Blip Blop Zip Zop. That's a good name. Blip Blop Zip Zop is asking, piggies, please. What about piggies? So pigs are going to come to our farm. Probably not this year. I should say definitely not this year. Allison would be really mad if I just said probably. So what it comes down to is this. What it comes down to with the pigs is this. I want to have pigs, but I don't want to try to take on too much at once. I will definitely be in 2022 getting pigs. I really think it's going to be an important part of our farm's business model. So I'm 100% locked in on the idea. But I had this choice of cattle or pigs, and I decided to opt towards the cattle because long-term I think that's going to be more important, and I want to really get up on the plan. So they won't be happening this year, but they will be happening eventually. Can I teach the cows because they all go to bed? Yeah, maybe. Ross Hamilton, actually, I don't think it's a rude question when people ask if you're going to have kids or not. It's just a fair question. It's a choice, and some couples might not want to talk about it. For us, I don't think we're shy about it, and I don't mind talking about it. I can see how for some people maybe who are like trying and have fertility problems that it's like a really sensitive topic. But I think some people wonder it because I guess that's the normal thing. And whenever you're a deviation from the normal, people will want to understand and ask about it. And so I don't personally take offense to it. All right, Gadabiza. Hey Morgan, my wife and our new fans and loving the content. What is your favorite experience, filmed or not filmed, with Pablo Barncat? That's a good one. I actually just had. I'm going to tell you about one of the funniest experiences, and it happens in the video I'm putting out tomorrow. Something happens to Pablo, and I have to help him, and it's funny. And I'm not going to give it away, but watch tomorrow's video, and you'll see it's just a funny incident. So that would be my answer there. You know what, Soap Crate? I agree with that. It's rude when they get upset that you don't want them. I agree that, the one thing I've found is, as I've talked about us not wanting to have kids, people will get very annoyed with that and like try to convince us otherwise or say, you're going to be sorry. And I actually think that part is very rude. Like, it's a personal choice. You shouldn't be trying to if you're trying to sell somebody an idea for their life, I think you really have to question why you're doing that. And so, yes, I do agree with you, Soap Crate, that is rude. Anna Liu, sorry. I know it's been a super long time, but what happened to the Sicken chicken? I think you featured it in a video sometime around June or July. Did they recover? You know what? I think you're talking about Henrietta. And sadly, no, Henrietta did not. She had an infected wound. I think I could have done a better job treating it and picking up on it sooner. But she had an infected wound, and she ended up dying in the spring, unfortunately. And she was actually one of Allison's favorite chickens, and so Allison was always really bummed about that. So that is the sad story of Henrietta. So what am I thinking about the names for the new dog? I don't know. I will tell you that the name will be very similar to, and similar by stylistically similar to Sir Bartleby de Mimsy Porpington, the Earl of Caledonia County. So that's actually Toby's full name, and we call him, Bartleby short. Toby short for Bartleby. And so that's actually sort of how he got his name. And so I know that the new puppy will be the Duchess of Caledonia County. I do not know what her name will be. Allison and I will debate that one for a while, and we'll come up with something. Any ideas, let me know. Not to say that we'll go with it. Hey, thank you, Maddox Clary. I appreciate the super chat. And if Bruce the Goose has a kid, name him Moose. I like that. Moose the Goose. All right, that one's going in the name book. I'm writing that one down. Moose the Goose. That's a clever one. Thank you for that, Maddox. All right. Sawyer Pillsbury is saying, shout out to the truth community. I'm sorry, I don't even know what the truth community is. Yeah. All right. Mark Cuvey's asking, what do I think about raising rabbits? Okay. So rabbits are an awesome source of meat. They are highly efficient in terms of converting feed to protein for a person. And I think that they seem pretty straightforward to raise, but I doubt we will ever have rabbits, because if we had rabbits, Allison would fall in love with those rabbits, and then I would never be able to butcher those rabbits. And what would happen is I would be left with hundreds and hundreds of rabbits roaming the farm, and I can't have that. So I don't plan on having any rabbits, but I think for somebody starting a homestead who can get comfortable with the butchering process, go for it. I think they seem very efficient. Julia Zamorano, has there been any attacks on the animals? No, we have been, and knock on wood, pretty attack free and safe on the farm for quite a while. Really, Margie the murder chicken was the only animal I've lost, in the last year plus. Yeah, more than a year, probably a year and a half. So she's the only animal we lost. She, I think, was attacked by either an owl or a hawk. So yeah. Has an animal ever escaped? So you know what? I have never had an animal escape the farm for longer than like an hour or two. Bernie the chicken, when she first arrived on the farm, she escaped for a little bit and she went missing for a couple of hours, but that was it. Oh, thank you for the good vibes there, Judy Moody. All right, wait. Jan Krasinski, aren't you scared that Allison or you will get attached to the cattle as well? Yeah, that's a risk. I definitely know that that's a risk. I think I'm going to limit how much I have Allison work with the cows just because of that. I'm pretty confident in my own ability to manage that, balance between loving and nurturing your animals, but also being comfortable with eating your animals. I think Allison might have a hard time, but I think I can manage it. Greetings from the Netherlands. Thank you, Night Chicken. When was your farm built? Okay, so our farm, the farmhouse and the farm area, it was originally settled like in 1835. That's when kind of the first home, or 1830-ish, somewhere around there. That's when the first homestead was put on here. This house was built in 1835. It was originally 1.5 stories. In 1920, they made it 2.5 stories. So the room I'm in right now, I'm on the second floor. This was like the attic back then, but they expanded it out and almost doubled the size. And so yeah, that's when it was built. Soundwave sign is 9. 2 to 3 beehives would be great. Yeah, I'm actually shooting for 3 hives is what my plan is. All right, let's see what other questions we have. Oh, Aaron Fleming sent in a super chat. That trapper hat you wear in your videos looks great, really well made. Where did you get it? So I got that trapper hat actually. I was driving down to the Homesteaders of America conference in 2019, and I was going from Vermont down to Virginia, and I was at a truck stop in Pennsylvania getting some lunch. And while I was there, across the street, I noticed there was a leather goods store, and I went in there and checked it out. And inside they had all sorts of cool stuff that the guy who ran the shop was making there. And so I was like, wow, this is awesome. And so I bought the hat there and I have cherished it and loved it ever since. Speaking of Homesteaders of America, I should say, I am actually I'm going to be a speaker this year at Homesteaders of America. So the Homesteaders of America conference, if you guys don't know it, it's probably the biggest homesteaders conference in the US. And so I went 2 years ago, didn't go last year because of COVID. But, if things get better, and, there is still that little caveat. If things get better, then I'll be speaking and actually giving a whole presentation on ducks. And so you guys can go to the Homesteaders of America website if you want to buy tickets. It's really cool. I'll be there hanging out too. And, what's nice is just everybody's sort of hanging out, walking around. I actually will have probably a special little gift that I'll be giving people if you find me in the crowd at Homesteaders of America. So definitely plan on going if you can this year. Hopefully things are going to be, everybody's going to be vaccinated enough that we can kind of do that sort of thing again. All right. Thank you for the super chat. Could you start a video inside with whatever your routine is with little barn cat? Yeah, I'll start another video pretty soon with little barn cat. Here. And this is just for you, Evil. You can say hi to my little friend. Aw, did you guys hear that? I did a video where I kind of gave an update on her about a month or two ago and just sort of what her life is like as an indoor cat. So you should check that out if you haven't, but I'll try to add another one of those in the future. Hey, Mallory, good to see you. Thanks for stopping by. What is the gender of the new puppy? So the new puppy will be a female. So Maremas actually work best as pairs, and they actually work best as male-female pairs. That actually, there's like their hierarchy and how they work things out is the most complementary in that situation. And so the new puppy will be a female. But just to be very clear, it's not like it's a girlfriend for Toby. It's if people say that, it's nah, that's a little creepy, because they're going to be related. So she's going to be Toby's niece. So yeah. Pravia, thank you for the super chat. So your question went away here. I'm really curious about the barn. I'm wondering if you can do a barn tour. Yeah, you know what? I'll do another barn tour pretty soon. That's actually a good thing to do, particularly when it's a crappy weather day. I'll do another barn tour. We're going to be doing some work on the barn. I got a grant from the state of Vermont to actually fix up the roof of the barn. And so that will all be part of what we do there. Hey, Fabian, thank you for that super chat. Would you ever live stream a day or doing your chores and taking care of your animals? I think it'd make a great video. I don't think I really would, because there's a technical logistical problem that I have with it. So I live out in the middle of nowhere. We don't have cell phone signal around here. And when it comes to like where all the animals are and where I do all of my chores, I don't have any Wi-Fi signal. So all my Wi-Fi is like contained like right around the house. And so the best I could ever do would be to do like something on the porch. And I've done that once or twice as a live stream, but I actually can't like live stream from like the duck yard. And so because of that, I don't think I could like do a day in the life sort of live stream. Okay, Lil, I'll let you go. If you want to get going, you can go. That's cool. What you going to do? Go down. All right. Antonio Vasile is asking, what geese breed do you want to get next? I love Franconian geese because they are so beautiful, sweet, amazing parents. Yes, Franconian geese are very cool. I think Pomeranians are another cool breed. I'm actually hoping that a lot of my crosses between the Emdens and the Toulouse end up having sort of that similar coloring to a Pomeranian. Maybe not as even a pattern, but like the combination of gray and white, I really like that. I think visually it's very striking. All right, what else we got? Yeah, that's exactly right, Jack. She probably just wants my snacks. Ashwin Streetkeith is saying, hey, we're sorry about Samson and thought we would mention that we named our Samuel Puddle Duck after Samuel Puddle Duck. He's turning into a Samson, and we have named our Samson PD after you. Oh, that's really nice of you. And yeah, in case you guys missed it, just so you guys know, yeah, Samson Puddle Duck is no longer with us. I ended up putting him down about 2 weeks ago now. Really, it's tough, and I kind of miss him, and that's life on the farm, I guess. Linda Messick is asking, are you going to use your 360 camera more? I will, and there's videos I use it in a lot still. You guys notice because I'm not making it so like, hey, it's a 360 camera. I might do another like come chorm with me video. The next time we get a good snowstorm, I'll bring the camera with me and just not even really make it like a regular video, but just like you can kind of follow along as I do my chores. So I'll probably do that in the not too distant future. And yeah, you'll see maybe a few other things. I think the other thing I'm actually working on. So here's a sneak preview of something to come in the next few weeks. So the harness that I've used in the past for the Toby cam, like when I've strapped a camera on Toby or even the Goose, it sort of got a little bit wonky. And so I've been working on designing and building with like a whole bunch of like GoPro parts and other things that I got going here, a new harness system to strap the 3D camera or the 360 camera on the Goose or Toby. And so you'll probably see a few new of those videos coming in the not too distant future too. Uncaging the Raging. I like that. Lena Chow, how was the snowstorm that hit the Northeast coast? Did you receive 20 plus inches? No, we probably didn't even get a foot. Like, the snow that we've had in the last couple of days, and I like just did a big snow blowing of the farm here this morning. It was not bad at all. It was like a usual run of the mill storm. We probably have about 2 feet of snow on the pasture at this point, just because it builds up and rarely melts. But yeah, that's about it. Melanie, the Quacken are doing good. Everybody's locked up for the night sleeping. But yeah, I think they're doing pretty well. I think and actually Luke Spees is asking this too. How is Spicy? So Spicy Duck is doing okay. She is spending a fair amount of time hanging out with Jemima Puddle Duck, Samson's mom. And she's still spending a lot of time actually in the house by herself. I might make a video about her and just how she's doing, but she is starting to sort of integrate a little bit more with the flock. I think she's kind of going, like, people are going to think I'm crazy because I talk about ducks like this, but I think that she is kind of going through a grieving process. And yeah, it's kind of sad. Would I get dewlap geese or Sebastopol geese? So Sebastopol geese, no. So the reason is this: around our climate, like because of their feathers and how they're set up, as well as their less down coat that they have, they're not nearly as cold hardy as like our Emdens or Toulouse. And so I just don't think that they would do all that well in this climate. All right. Ooh, this is a good one. I like to answer this question. Sandra Barbado is asking, or Barbado, I don't know, your favorite books. And as you guys can tell, I love books. I got a whole ton of them. Let's see. The Stand by Stephen King, Cat's Cradle by Kurt Vonnegut, On the Road by Jack Kerouac, and I'll lump the whole Harry Potter series in as one book, even though it's probably not fair. There. So those are probably some of my favorite books. All right, Will, I don't know why. Sasha Mikita, are you going to get ducks? Wait, was that what your question was? I missed it. Okay, do I go hunting? Yeah, I go hunting, deer hunting and turkey hunting, basically. And then every so often, I'll pick off a random pest around the farm. So yeah, I do that. My favorite punk rock song. That's a tough one because, like, I don't know, picking one song is hard. Some of my favorite punk rock albums of all time. Give 'Em Enough Rope by The Clash. Fresh Fruit for Rotting Vegetables by Dead Kennedys. Duct Tape Soup by Crimp Shrine. Punk and Drublick, No Effects. Bad Brains. I forget the name of the one, but the one with the red cover of that Bad Brains album is really good. Yeah. Can you name a duck Allison? No, I can't name a duck Allison. Allison would not be happy if I named a duck Allison, so I will not do that. Little Hope Farm. Hey, Morgan, we're small farmers. We live in Greeno, Montana. We love your channel. Oh, well, thank you. I appreciate that. Montana is a beautiful place. Sid Smith, did your super chat go through? I don't know. I can't see. Oh, yeah, I did. Oh, I see it there. Hey, thank you, Sid. I appreciate that super chat. Thank you for the quid. I swear that your content is the only thing getting me through the lockdown. Oh, well, that's really sweet of you, Sid. I appreciate the support. Hey, Oliver, thanks for coming in. What are some other states you considered having a farm in before you settled in Vermont? Sure, that's a good one. So let's see. Where did I think about going? I considered going to Virginia. So because at the time when Allison and I were starting the idea of looking for a farm in Vermont, or looking for a farm, I should say, we were living in Washington, D.C. Virginia and Maryland were like kind of the two immediate places, as well as West Virginia, that we were sort of looking at. I think it was, and please, no offense to any of my friends who live down south, we just didn't feel like it suited us culturally or climately. Like, it just wasn't like what we wanted long term. And, we both grew up in New England, and I think that's what felt much more natural to us. And so that's what pushed us up in New England. As we were thinking about New England, upstate New York definitely came up as a possibility. Allison really didn't want to go back to Connecticut, which is the state that we both grew up in. Kicked around New Hampshire a little bit, kicked around Maine a little bit, kicked around Massachusetts a little bit, but really ultimately got to Vermont pretty quickly. And yeah, that's where How do I feel about viewers visiting the farm? Well, Addicted to Mare, it's a little complicated. So it's really tough for me if people show up on the farm while I'm just going through my day, whether I'm like working my day job right from here in my home office, or I'm working out on the farm on a project. It's tough because like I'm in the middle of something. It's tough to like focus on like giving somebody a tour and inviting people in. This past fall, when we sold our geese, after we did the goose harvest, it was awesome though, having folks come to the farm and I could give them a quick tour and sell them a goose. And so what I would like to do in the future, and I'm not going to be ready for this spring, and it's going to be really dependent on how sort of our society snaps back from COVID. But once things start to go back to normal, I'm going to be planning to have and host like a couple of farm tour days each year. So like, maybe 3 or 4, if I had to guess, where I like have folks come in and you can kind of tour and see what's going on and meet Toby Dog and see Pablo and just enjoy all kind of the fun around the farm. And I want to try to set up a couple of specific days where it happens. I can't have it be every day because my time is just so scattered the way it is right now. I couldn't afford from a time management perspective to be able to do that. But I do want to create a way for people, if they're interested, to come to the farm. The other thing that we're working on, and I've been sort of slowly but surely working on this, and I haven't shown it really in any videos yet, just because I'm very self-conscious about my construction skills, is I'm building a little apartment here within our farmhouse. So it's like got a separate entrance off to the side. It's like actually above our mudroom. And that apartment is going to be something that we rent out probably on Airbnb. And so if people want to stay here, they probably can. I might even give you a chance of like, if you wanted to like hang out and do chores or have breakfast, you could do that as well. So that's something that might happen in not too distant future. But again, both of those plans are very dependent upon when society kind of snaps back post-COVID. I don't want to do it while the pandemic stuff's still going on. It's just, it's too complex and too much risk. And just, I don't think I'd be able to give people the right experience. But once things kind of get back to normal, I will be doing it. Chillis, thank you, or Chills Cryptics. Thank you for the super chat again. And the pond is frozen. Like there's really not much happening. What's really happening for the pond right now is we're accumulating a lot of snow. So that's a lot of water on the pasture. That's a good sign. So what's going to happen though is come the spring, all that snow is going to melt and really fill up the pond. And my hope is that the pond's able to hold water and we're going to be able to keep everything, nice and hydrated for the ducks and geese throughout the summer. So that's my plan. And I'm hoping that works. Have I ever considered getting goats, Melva Sugar? Yeah, I don't think goats are for me because we raise so many trees here. I'm afraid the goats would damage the trees. And goats are notorious escape artists. And, like I've thought about doing like boar meat goats. And I would just be too worried that they'd have sort of a negative impact on the land. And so I'm leaning more towards grazing ruminants, like grass grazing ruminants, like ducks, or sorry, like geese and cattle versus brush grazers like goats. Oh wow, thank you for that super chat there. Thank you, Alice Mora. My cat little boy, and I have enjoyed your videos so much. Thank you for your hard work. Oh, thank you, Alice. I appreciate that support. And thank you guys all for who've been supporting us tonight. It's so cool to kind of come on here and hang out and chat with you guys. And I appreciate it. And I appreciate the support. And I mean, just so you guys know too, what I actually end up doing is when all these super chats come in, this is basically the money that I use to directly pay for the animal feed at this point. And so it's so cool to be able to offset some of the farm costs by the support you guys show. And so, like I'll be adding more animals to the farm and even more ducks than I probably need from a business standpoint. And it's really thanks to the generous YouTube support. The Chemist, you should do a video of what the farm looks like. Oh, this moves too quick. Sorry, I feel like half this live stream is me going, oh, wait, I missed it. You should do a video of what the farm looks like when you're not around or doing something inside your farmhouse. That's kind of an interesting idea. Actually, Allison and I were talking about it. She might actually take a camera around one day and, just do like the farm from her point of view. So that might be something that happens. Yeah, Rose, I agree with you. Goats do seem like a lot of work. And since you're the person saying that, I'm going to very much trust that. And guys, just again, I want to say a shout out to my moderators. So Jack from the Mindful Homestead and Rose from Wholesome Roots. Check out their channels. They do some great stuff. You can get some great advice. And if you're interested in goats, Rose is the person to follow. So definitely check her out. Hey, Pedram, thank you for that. Does Vermont produce ice wine? I think they do. I think Eden Cider, just up a little ways from us, they do I think they do a Applejack, and I think they do an ice wine, if I'm not mistaken. Bromark Farms. Mr. Duckshaw. Boar goats are hard to take care of. Kikos are better. Yeah, that's probably true, but guess what? I'm not doing either of them. Oh, Ben Rupert, when might I see another podcast in the feed? Okay, man, you've hit a topic tonight that I was meaning to address, and I feel super guilty. I have a couple of really good interviews sitting on my computer as we speak. I have, let's see, Dan from the Grass-Fed Homestead. He and I sat down. We had a really great conversation, and I want to share that one. My buddy Ben from the Urban Rescue Ranch, we recently did a recording, so I'm going to try to get those out there pretty quick. Yeah, Kitten Gray, you like that painting? So I was saying this earlier in the live chat. I think I want to make that into a t-shirt. And I'm really curious if people would want to see that as a t-shirt. Oh, thank you, Schroeds. I appreciate that. Not sure if you answered this before. Is another livestock guardian dog coming? Yes. New puppy coming this spring. She's going to be Toby's niece. They're going to work as a team, patrolling the grounds. It's going to be awesome. I'm super excited for it. Sophia Plays says, hey, what's your favorite breed of chicken? Mine is Polish, and I have one named Patricia. I have a Crevecoeur. Her name is Barbara. She kind of looks like a Polish. Let's see. Of our chickens, my favorite breed, I really like our Barred Rocks. I think the Barred Rock pattern is very pretty. And the two Barred Rocks we have are the most friendliest chickens we've got in our bunch. I really like them. So I really enjoyed the Barred Rocks. I also like the Colombian Wyandotte a lot. I think they're very nice looking birds. So yeah, those are probably my favorites. What do I think about swans? I think swans are a menace to society and somebody should put a stop to them. And no, I have no plans of getting swans on the farm. Uncle Toby, yes, he's going to be a great teacher. That's actually, this is a good point. I'm really glad that you bring this up there. So Ash, you know, when it comes to it, right, the reason I didn't get two dogs at once is it's actually harder to train two livestock guardian puppies at the same time versus what I wanted to do was do a really good job with one dog. And I feel like I've accomplished it with that guy over there. Now, this second puppy, you know, she's going to be on the farm and I'm going to have to do actually less work to train her because Toby Dog is already trained up and he will be kind of the dominant one, especially initially. And he's going to be guiding her on how to act and behave. And because of that, my job as the dog trainer and the farmer is going to be so much easier. So that is absolutely the case. He's going to be the teacher. You got that spot on, Ash. You don't think that portrait does him justice, Eamon Fox? I don't know. I think it's pretty dignified. I'm a fan. Do I prefer to work on the farm or in a corporate office? Farm. No question about it. Even with my corporate office job, over the last year, I've been working, almost last year, I guess 10 months. I've been working right from this room, and it's been awesome. I will admit, I kind of dread the day if I have to go back to the office. I would much rather work from home, even if it's not doing farm work or YouTube work or things like that. All right, guys, I actually am going to need to jump off here pretty soon. I got to actually finish editing your video for tomorrow. It's going to be a cool video. Like I said, it deals with the general topic of barn cats. I'm not going to give it all away. It'll be tomorrow at 11 a.m. It'll be available. But I will take one last question. So let me look here and see if I can find a good one. Kathy Baird, we call your show the Toby Dog Show. I call my farm the Toby Dog Farm, so I think we got that in common. Is Sir Toby fixed? Toby is not fixed yet, but he will be. All right, I'm waiting for the final question. I think I've answered these. Thank you again to Rose and Jack for being the moderators. Good night. Good night. All right. All right, Robert Thompson has the last question of the night. Have you considered doing farm business planning and consulting services? You know, a couple of people have asked me that, and I don't think I'm ready to do that, to be honest. I don't mind giving people advice or helping them think through a problem, and I guess I should probably charge maybe a little something for the time. But when it comes down to it, I just don't think I'm all that experienced yet. Like I feel like I have a lot to learn. Like the fact that I'm actually even doing this like workshop on geese at the Homesteaders of America conference this year got me a little nervous, because I'm sure there's people who know a lot more than I do. But that said, you know, kind of one of the things that people actually ask most about is how to make videos, which I probably do. I'm more likely to talk about that than anything else. So that would be the thing that I'd maybe think about consulting. But really right now, I just want to put my energy to the farm, put my energy to, you know, making content for you guys, and, you know, put my energy to doing things like I'm still working on the Toby Dog book. That's actually why you see that picture right there in front of my typewriter. My plan is to ultimately finish that this year and get it out there. So stay tuned for that. So guys, thank you for hanging out tonight. And I appreciate it. I really love hanging out with you again. I will be back doing another live stream first Wednesday. I think it's going to be March 3rd. It's going to be like actually a couple days right before my birthday, actually. I'll be turning 41, which feels ancient. So you guys can like maybe do like a pre-birthday party with me. And so that will be the next live stream. New video though coming out tomorrow. And thank you guys. I really appreciate all the support. Thank you to everybody with the super chats, including the almighty Skriegel. And I really, really appreciate it. Thank you so much, and have a great night. And I'll talk to you soon. Bye.